Is it safe to travel to Saudi Arabia right now? It's a question that has become more relevant than ever, as Saudi Arabia embarks on what it calls Vision 2030, a sweeping initiative to transform the kingdom from an oil-dependent economy into a diversified hub of tourism, business, and culture. For decades, Saudi Arabia was one of the most closed countries in the world to foreign visitors. It was a place most travelers only glimpsed in news reports, or perhaps transited through on connecting flights. But in recent years, the government has introduced new tourist visas, opened up historic sites, and invested billions of dollars in mega projects intended to showcase a different side of the country. Yet the question of safety, and more broadly, the question of what it feels like to be there, remains complex. Saudi Arabia is not like Dubai. It is not like Egypt or Jordan or any other Middle Eastern country. It has its own deeply rooted cultural norms, a history shaped by conservative religious practices and laws that are enforced with a consistency and severity that often surprises travelers from other parts of the world. I'm Stephen with the Travel Safety Network, and after traveling the world over the past 30 years as a safety specialist, I've learned that no place benefits from simple characterizations. Saudi Arabia is no exception. In this video, we're going to look frankly at the realities of traveling to the kingdom in 2025. We'll talk about how safe it really is, what you need to understand about politics, religion, and social expectations, and why your experience here will depend greatly on who you are. And stay with me until the end, because I'll share something you might find surprising, an emerging trend in Saudi Arabia's tourism industry that could change the narrative in the years ahead. If you ask people who have visited Saudi Arabia recently about safety in the conventional sense, crime, theft, violent attacks, many will tell you it is among the safest places they've ever been. Street crime is exceptionally rare. Violent crime targeting foreigners is almost unheard of in major cities like Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dammam. The kingdom has some of the most stringent security measures you'll encounter anywhere. Surveillance is extensive, police are visible, and laws are enforced swiftly and often without much leniency. This high level of control has made Saudi Arabia feel orderly and predictable to many business travelers. If you stay in international hotels, move around with licensed drivers, and follow the rules, you are unlikely to encounter direct threats to your personal safety. But that doesn't mean it's a place where you can relax in the same way you might in more familiar destinations. Because the most significant risks here are not about street crime, they are about misunderstanding or accidentally violating the country's legal and cultural expectations. Saudi Arabia is a deeply conservative Islamic society. Sharia law is the foundation of its legal system. This affects every aspect of public life. Alcohol is strictly prohibited. There is no tolerance for public intoxication, and bringing alcohol into the country is a serious offense. Possession of drugs, even in small amounts, can lead to severe penalties, including lengthy prison terms, or in some cases the death penalty. Public displays of affection are forbidden. Even something as seemingly innocuous as holding hands with a partner can attract attention, particularly outside major cities. Sex outside of marriage is illegal, and accusations can lead to arrest, prosecution, and deportation. Same-sex relationships are criminalized, and LGBTQ+ travelers need to consider these laws carefully. Dress codes are also enforced. For women, this means wearing modest clothing that covers the arms and legs. In some areas, particularly religious sites or smaller towns, an abaya, a loose-fitting cloak, may still be expected, even if it is no longer legally mandated in all circumstances. Men are also expected to dress conservatively, avoiding shorts or sleeveless shirts in public spaces. These rules apply to everyone, regardless of nationality. And while Saudi authorities have become more welcoming in some respects, the enforcement of laws remains strict. Western governments frequently remind travelers that their embassies have limited ability to intervene if you break Saudi law. This is not a country where you can assume a cultural misunderstanding will simply be overlooked. The U.S. State Department currently advises travelers to reconsider travel to Saudi Arabia due to the threat of missile and drone attacks on civilian infrastructure, particularly in areas near the border with Yemen. The advisory notes that while these attacks do not generally target tourists, they have occurred in Riyadh and other major cities. Canada's Global Affairs Office provides similar guidance, highlighting the ongoing conflict in Yemen and the possibility of regional instability. The UK Foreign Office emphasizes the need to remain aware of local developments, especially in the eastern provinces and border areas, and Australia's Smartraveller likewise urges caution in specific regions. Beyond security concerns, there are social considerations that travelers need to understand. Gender plays a significant role in shaping your experience here. While reforms have expanded opportunities for Saudi women and eased some restrictions on female visitors, the country remains a place where gender segregation is common. In many restaurants, cafes, and public venues, there are still family sections and single men's sections. As a female traveler, you may receive extra scrutiny in some contexts, and you should be prepared to adjust your behavior to align with local expectations. If you are traveling as an unmarried couple, it is essential to understand that while enforcement has relaxed in some tourist zones, cohabitation outside marriage is still technically prohibited. Many hotels will require proof of marriage, or will assume you are married if you book a room together. If you are part of the LGBTQ+ community, you should think carefully about your plans. Saudi Arabia does not recognize same-sex relationships in any form, and public discussion or expression of sexual orientation can be grounds for arrest. Religion is another dimension that shapes safety in Saudi Arabia. The kingdom is the birthplace of Islam, home to Mecca and Medina, and has a deeply religious culture. Non-Muslims are not permitted to enter the holy cities. Attempting to do so can result in deportation or legal consequences. Religious expression outside Islam is also restricted. Proselytizing, attempting to convert Muslims to another faith, is a criminal offense. Even private religious gatherings can be viewed with suspicion. But it's important to balance these strictures with an understanding that the country is changing. Vision 2030 is not just a slogan. You can see evidence of reform in everything from women driving to the development of new entertainment venues and tourism initiatives. Saudi Arabia is trying to create a more modern image, to open itself to the world in ways that were unthinkable 20 years ago. You'll find parts of Riyadh that feel increasingly cosmopolitan. Young Saudis are launching startups, hosting film festivals, and engaging with global culture in ways their parents never could have imagined. The Red Sea Project, NEOM, and other mega developments aim to attract travelers who want luxury experiences in a place few have seen. Yet even in these emerging destinations, the core social contract remains. Respect for religion, adherence to law, and sensitivity to conservative norms are not optional. They are the price of admission. If you're considering traveling to Saudi Arabia, it's worth asking yourself what you hope to gain from the experience. For many, it's the chance to see landscapes that feel almost mythic, from the vast deserts of the Empty Quarter to the ancient Nabatean tombs of Al-Ula. It's the opportunity to understand a society that is often misunderstood, to glimpse a culture that is changing rapidly while holding tight to centuries of tradition. But it is not a destination for everyone. It is not a place where you can expect cultural expectations to bend around your preferences. The risks here are not about crime in the street or the kind of unpredictability you might find in less developed countries. The risks are about crossing invisible lines, lines of law, faith, and custom, and discovering that those lines are enforced with absolute seriousness. This is why preparation is so critical. Before you go, read the advisories from your government carefully. Understand the laws around photography. Many government buildings, military sites, and even some public areas are off limits for photos. Be sure you know what you can and cannot bring into the country, and think carefully about your online presence. Social media posts critical of the government or religious institutions have led to arrests and prosecutions. Yet even with these realities, many travelers who have visited Saudi Arabia will tell you about the warmth and generosity of the people they met. They'll remember the local guide who insisted on sharing a meal, the shop owner who took time to explain the history of a handmade rug, the young people eager to practice their English and learn about the outside world. Those human connections are what give depth to a journey here. So, is it safe to travel to Saudi Arabia? The honest answer is that it depends on you. It depends on whether you can respect the laws, adapt to a very different set of expectations, and prepare for a level of scrutiny that you might not experience elsewhere. If you do, you will likely find a place that is secure, fascinating, and unlike anywhere else you've ever been. But if you cannot, the consequences can be severe. And here's the surprise I promised you at the start. Despite all the cautionary tales, Saudi Arabia has quietly become one of the fastest-growing tourism markets in the Middle East. In 2024 alone, millions of visitors came to see places that were off-limits for generations. Many left with a sense that they had glimpsed something rare, a society in the midst of transformation, grappling with its past while reaching for a new identity. I'm Stephen with the Travel Safety Network. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with anyone thinking about visiting Saudi Arabia. And stay tuned for my upcoming videos, where we'll explore more destinations where preparation makes all the difference. Until next time, stay informed, stay respectful, and remember, safety is your travel superpower.